Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we are going to be reacting to a video about Andy Hoops titled 7 Brutal NBA Trash Talking Stories That Went Too Far. So guys, let me know in the comment section below. When you play basketball, would you consider yourself a trash talker? Or do you typically keep quiet out there? I will say, for the most part, I'm a pretty quiet basketball player. Like, if I go out there and I knock down a 3 or 2, I want to act like I've been there before, man. So, I stay pretty quiet. But I will say, there are certain circumstances where I will talk shit, man. And that is pretty much only, when I'm playing with somebody that pretends they're Kobe Bryant. But really, they're more so to, the James Nunnally type of player out there, man. Basically, they think they're really good, but they're just trash and they take every single shot. I'll get chippy with you, man. I'll say, yo, I don't know, whatever, man. But yeah, let's go ahead, check this out and see these trash talking stories. Here we go, man.
How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and
Hello,
today,
Andy.
Let's talk about trash talking. I've watched the NBA for a long time, and I've seen my fair share of ridiculous trash talking stories.
Who's the best
Some
trash
were
talker,
crazy,
guys?
Some were kind of insensitive, and others were kind of uncalled for. These are, in my opinion, the 7 most brutal trash-talking stories in NBA history.
Okay.
Anyway, without further ado, let's get started.
Let's do it.
Number 7. Kevin Garnett calls Charlie Villanueva.
Ooh, what a way to start. Yes, this was a big yikes. And I remember that because, of course, Charlie Villanueva stole a lot of money from the Pistons. And I was watching that team.
A cancer patient. KG was
you can tell that
known
probably
to be
just
a
slipped out, though.
notorious trash talker, and some of the stuff he said was way out of line.
Can't say that,
This
man.
happened to be one of them.
Yup.
For those who don't know who Charlie Villanueva is, he was known to be a great guy and a solid player.
With a bad basketball player.
However, he suffers from alopecia areata, a disease that causes hair loss. Villanueva spends his free time visiting children who also suffer from this disease.
Yo, good for him on that, though.
Spokesperson for
Good
kids
for him.
who have low self-esteem because of it.
Good for him on that.
In late 2010, the Celtics and Pistons would play a regular season game, and afterwards, Charlie tweeted that Kevin Garnett said some very unpleasant things to him, one of which was calling him a cancer.
But I will say, I doubt KG said that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? It does not make it right. But a lot of times, trash talking, it's freestyle. You know what I'm saying? Where it's sometimes something just kind of slips out. And I think that's probably one of those cases where he was trying to think of something to say to Charlie V. But then again, Kevin Garnett is known to being kind of like a savage like that. So who really knows?
Patient. It became a huge story at the time because everyone knows KG trash talks all the time,
right,
and the players even voted him as the NBA's top trash talker in the previous year as he won with 62% of the vote.
Do you want that title?
Even for him, this was a new low and definitely crossed the line. In fact, after Villanueva accused him of saying that, Garnett fired back and said the allegations were not true.
Why would he lie about that?
In a statement to the NBA, Garnett wrote that what he really said was, "You are cancerous to your team and our league," which honestly sounds worse than calling him a cancer patient.
Right.
Charlie's teammates loved him and they had his back, so I don't know where that came from. Also, there was another rumor that floated around for years, starting back in 2013. Apparently, it was reported Mello that his wife tasted like Honey Nut Cheerios. It was a massive deal all over the media, not only because it was pretty hilarious, but also because Melo's wife, Lala, was estranged at the time. So Melo took it very personally.
Wait,
However,
she was what?
Years later, this whole story was debunked. Paul Pierce revealed that Garnett never said anything like that. And also, Lala herself said in her book that, quote, Kevin Garnett, in fact, had never said that I tasted like Honey Nut Cheerios. I try to figure out how
savage,
this big lie was turned into a media firestorm.
That
I
is
still
big time
can't
savage.
answer that one. Melo and Kevin are cool today. Number 6, Reggie Miller trash talks to Spike Lee. There was no specific line that Reggie said to Spike.
They'd always go back and forth.
It was just general trash talking that continued to ramp up and eventually turned into a heated rivalry. According to an article from 1995, Spike wondered, when will Miller shut that foul mouth of his? And when will the slur-slinging pacer aim his diatribes at someone else? He looked like he was trying to charge me. He had to be restrained. My wife said he was a maniac. He lost his mind. We've seen this before. It was the same thing in Game 5 last year, when he made those obscene gestures with my wife sitting next to me.
Damn, man.
By the way, this was around the time Reggie was
Talk
killing
shit,
the
get
Knicks,
hit, right?
with his 8 points in 9 seconds and the famous photo of him giving the choke sign to Spike Lee. Spike didn't say much back to Reggie, but Reggie kept piling on insults after insults until it got out of control. According to Spike, the reason for Miller's outbursts was because, quote, he plays in a very small market, Indiana. For a long time, he hasn't got that much publicity. The series with the Knicks enabled him to show what he could do in front of a national audience. Basically, Reggie was super pumped up to show off his talent to the world. Over the years, though, after Reggie retired, they developed a better relationship.
I bet you
and
Spike
actually
Lee said
became
something.
friends.
Spike Lee's got head of said something.
Number 5, Michael
Guaranteed.
Jordan says to Muggsy Bogues, "Shoot it, you f***ing midget." Now, the popular opinion is that
Come on,
people
MJ!
think Muggsy's career was never the same after MJ called him a midget.
Yeah.
That's kinda true, but that's not really why his career fell off, and I'll explain why. So, this happened during the 1995 playoffs near the end of Game 5. Jordan backed off of Muggsy and told the midget to shoot the ball. And if you look at Muggsy's stats in the seasons after that moment, it looked like he dropped off significantly.
Yep.
Even Muggsy himself said that moment had a psychological effect on him that lingered for years. But what really ended Muggsy's career was a knee injury in the following season. That injury limited him to only 6 games for the entire 95-96 season, and afterwards, he never successfully recovered. He was slower, he was less athletic, and
like
he
Isaiah
could barely
Thomas.
play anymore.
Those injuries hit those
Of course,
small
being
dudes.
5'3" made it even worse because there's literally nothing he could do without his quickness. He was also 32 years old at this point, so it was normal for his game to start regressing, especially after a significant knee injury. Number 4, Barack Obama destroys Rondo's confidence.
What do you say to Rondo?
Back in 2011, Shaq was on the Boston Celtics, the last season he ever played in the NBA.
Thank God.
During the season, the Celtics attended a fundraiser at the Museum of Fine Arts, and that's when Barack Obama showed up. He talked a little bit with the Celtics and the organization, and then he left. But there was something he said that really irked Rondo.
About the headbands?
Shaq said that everyone was a little bit in awe. The president turns to Ray, points at Rondo, and says, "Hey Ray, why don't you teach this kid how to shoot?" Everyone starts laughing. KG told me he saw the look on Rondo's face.
It's gotta be a bold-faced lie, man. I mean, I'll be honest, man. People roast my jump shot sometimes, but actually my last video I did, you guys said it was pretty good. But people used to roast my jump shot. Can you imagine getting dissed by the president for your basketball skills? Like, there's like this great moment. You're out there meeting the president. And he's like, yeah, someone teach this guy how to shoot the ball.
And the kid was devastated.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
By the president.
That is hilarious.
Even though I'm sure Obama didn't mean any harm. Rondo smiled and went along with all of it, but KG told me he could see it in his eyes.
And to this day, he still never knows how to shoot.
It killed him. Shaq also said that after this event, Rondo shot the ball horribly. So I decided to go back and check the stats. The Celtics met Obama at the Museum of Fine Arts on March 8th, 2011.
Okay, yep.
Then for the next 2 weeks, from March 9th until March 23rd,
0% from 3?
Rondo averaged fewer than 7 points a game and shot 31% from the field.
Damn,
and
man.
during these 2 weeks, he did not hit a single three-pointer.
Was he shooting
I guess it's safe to say that the comments by Obama really went into Rondo's head, and it was true he struggled after he said that.
Damn, Obama about to win Defensive Player of the Year with those comments, man.
Rondo bounced back quite nicely,
the guy down.
And his jump shot improved drastically a year later. Number 3, Gary Payton trash talks your family.
Well, that's weird.
Payton was one of the greatest point guards of all time, but also one of the most brutal, relentless trash talkers ever. Because if he knew something about your family, he would use that as a weakness and go at it.
That is weird.
According to Payton himself, he said, "My whole strategy to a guy was, if I do what was really personal in his life, it wasn't really a good thing, but I'm telling you guys now, that was me. That was just the way it was. You can hate me on the basketball court, but I would..."
So what's he doing? I saw little Daryl. Little Daryl got a D- on a spelling test. Like, is he talking shit like that? Or I don't really know. Or like, yo, I saw that Kendra didn't make the girls' basketball team. Is that the type of personal stuff he's getting at, or what's he doing? I don't really know. I really don't know this. I need to know.
Say sorry to you afterwards.
Hopefully we find out.
If I knew something about a person's mother, his sister, if he had just got a drunk driving charge, I would go at that situation. It might be cruel to some people, but I would go at it.
To some people, how about everyone?
The worst situation happened in the 1994 playoffs. Payton got into a heated argument with his teammate, Ricky Pierce.
Okay.
Coach George Karl witnessed what was going on in the locker room, and both Payton and Pierce threatened to sort it out with guns. That's when Payton said to Pierce, "I'll kill your family." Over the decades, there were many stories of Payton's trash talking, but this was the most extreme case I've seen from him. Number 2, Charles Barkley's incident with a player from Angola.
Okay.
This happened during the 1992 Olympics. The USA Dream Team was dominating the rest of the competition. One day, they were about to play Angola, so Barkley was interviewed about what he thought of their team. He responded with, "I don't know anything about Angola, but Angola's in trouble." Then later on, during the actual game, Charles got into a small altercation with an Angolan player, mainly because he didn't like how physical they were playing him. The Dream Team ended up crushing Angola 116-48. But after the game, Charles said some stuff about the altercation. He tried to explain what happened, so he said, "Somebody hits me, I'm going to hit him back. Even if it does look like he hasn't eaten in a couple weeks." I thought he was going to pull a spear on me.
Oh my god, dude!
What made this even worse was that Angola was going through a civil war at the time.
I don't care if you're going through a civil war. You don't say that to anybody! That's not trash talk, man. That's hate talk right there. That's the difference. Oh my god.
By the early 1990s, peace agreements in Angola were starting, but many civilians were still suffering, with families having very little food to eat. Now, I doubt Charles was aware of what was going on there.
It don't matter, he still said it.
It was a pretty harsh comment towards a team and a country that was going through a rough time. And at number 1, Larry Bird mocking Craig Hodges. We've all heard of this famous Larry Bird quote. Larry walks into the three-point contest locker room and tells everyone, "So, who's coming in second place?"
Yep.
For those who don't know, Bird won the first 3 NBA three-point contests from 1986 to 1988.
Cocky dude right there, man.
At this time, he was considered the best three-point shooter in the league. But after a while, Bird stopped entering the contest. Then in 1990, Craig Hodges would finally win the three-point contest.
Yo, good for him, man.
So here's the situation. In 1990, Bird was supposed to participate, as he was on the original list, but he ended up sitting out due to injury. So after Hodges won, a reporter asked him if his victory seemed tainted because Bird did not participate. Hodges responded by saying, "He knows where to find me." To which Bird replied, "Yeah, at the end of the Bulls' bench." Hodges would go on to win 3 consecutive three-point shootouts. Unfortunately, after that moment in 1990, we never saw Bird and Hodges go head-to-head in the contest ever again. Bird's health was rapidly deteriorating and Hodges would retire by 1992. Up until today, over 30 years later, they're still the only 2 players to win the three-point shootout 3 times.
Come on, let's watch it right now.
We don't see many rivalries in the All-Star Weekend events like we used to, but this rivalry was certainly one of the best.
Tim Hardaway, Deion Waiters. That was nice.
And that's all, folks.
Those were good, man. That was a good video. Guys, go check out this man's channel. Link to in the description with Andy Hoops. Thank you all so much for watching. And peace out, my friends.